So Playmates Toys has some new offerings for Ben 10. Today we are going to be having a look at Ben Tennyson. Ben comes included with gray matter as his accessory. I guess I don't really want to call him an accessory, but he comes with little tiny gray matter. So let's figure out how tall these new figures are. If we put the tape measure next to Ben, Ben stands a little shy of being 4 inches in height. Maybe also while we're at it, let's figure out how tall gray matter is. Gray matter is what seems to be exactly 1.5 inches in height. Why don't we first have a look at little gray matter. I've got him on a display base, which comes included with the figure itself. Just an olive-colored plastic display base with a little peg on the one side there. And it attaches only to the, well, not necessarily true. It doesn't attach just to one foot. You can really attach it to either foot, but the peg itself, there's only one peg on the stand. Gray matter himself does not seem to have any sort of posability whatsoever. Instead, it's just a staction piece made of a slightly softer rubber. Despite for the fact that it doesn't have arm posability, or at the very least head posability, it's really a nice little representation of gray matter. The coloring here definitely pops, where you've got the black panel outlining around the eyes that really make those stand out. Equally so, I think the color choices that they went with are very accurate to the show. Again, loving the black. The shiny black really does quite wonders for this little tiny gray matter. Put him to the side. Well, actually, you know what? We'll put him back onto his display stand because he really doesn't stand very well at all. So we'll just attach him to his base, put him right over there, and have a look at Ben Tennyson. Again, a nice little version of Ben. I'm very impressed with the sculpt on this particular figure, although I have to admit, his head sculpt kind of makes him look a little sinister. I mean, granted, yes, if we take the packaging and we look at the packaging itself, he does have like a more determined look on his face, but the figure almost resonates, kind of looks a little bit more like he's sinister than anything else. Again, much like gray matter, the coloring on this guy is done really exceptionally well. The coloring of the plastic, my guess was probably the flesh tone, and then they've painted in, like, for example, the sleeves. And again, he looks really, really good here. The smallest of details are also captured here. Got the whites, the blacks, and the silvers happening here. Again, nice coloring on the top. Kind of a lime green happening here, and you've got the olive, slightly olive-colored pants. I have to admit, paint is really clean on this guy. Both front and back, I really don't seem to have any issues whatsoever. Does have peg holes on the undersides of his feet, but to be honest, you really can't. You can stand him, obviously, very well, but he doesn't come with a display stand, so even though there are technically peg holes on the undersides of the feet, you don't really have the means to properly, you don't have the means to put him on a stand. Despite, well, other than the fact that his face looks a little mean, I'm really, again, happy with the head sculpt. The hair sculpt and overall just shape of his head really does look like, I mean, there's, you know, when it comes to cartoon figures, sometimes the line can make or break it. Playmates always seems to do a really good job of capturing how they look in the cartoon, and Ben 10 here, or Ben Tennyson, is no exception. I have to admit, he is a little on the limited posability side. I mean, he does have a pin socket right here, a hinge socket, where you can rotate the arm out. You can also rotate the arm all the way around, like that. But you really can't have it. Well, you can kind of slightly rotate the hand, but you can't really bend the head. It doesn't seem, even though it does look like it has a ball joint, you really can't bring the head down well enough to have him displayed where he's looking at his watch. I mean, you can't really quite do that, but I guess it's close enough, at least, that they put the swiveling happening here. on the wrist end of it. You know, at least he does have that. The other hand, on the other hand, the rotation here happens on the forearm, actually closer to the bicep areas where you can rotate his arm here. Still has the hinge happening in the shoulder, and again, you can rotate the arm all the way around. He has a waist swivel. Legs go forward and back. It's kind of got that one of those hinges where you have to rotate the leg facing the way that the groove is. So like if the groove is facing this way, you can bring the leg out this way, but you can't bring it this way. You have to rotate the leg, bring out the leg like so, and try not to bang the camera in the process. You bend at the knee, rotate the lower leg, and he does also have a hinge in the foot. So this guy's really posable. At the very least, though, despite what posability he has, I kind of wish he could have posed a little bit better in the head, but all around, pretty happy with this figure. Have gone to Walmarts and Toys R Us's, and they're starting to really stock heavily the Ben 10 figures. So we're going to have a look at those in the next series of reviews. With new Ben 10 figures now hitting store shelves, I thought it was probably perfect to start having a look at the figures by starting with Ben Tennyson here and Gray Matter. The figure is a really impressive sight. He's got some really nice coloring and superposable. Unfortunately, Gray Matter doesn't have that posability, but instead he is offered up some really nice sculpting and some excellent paint. The Omnitrix that is featured on Ben's hand luckily can be rotated right around where the band of the watch is. So at the very least you can rotate it and have it facing him. I wish, unfortunately, he did have better articulation in the head, because really, he has all great articulation everywhere else. If only his head could be slightly tipped further down, so he could actually make, well, you could make the figure look like he was looking a little bit more at the Omnitrix. Still a nice looking figure and fairly affordable figures. These guys will cost you about $10 to $12 in retail stores. And like I said, the Ben 10 figures are now hidden store shelves. Probably have been already on store racks for a little bit, but I've started seeing them popping up here in Canada. Today we were having a look at the Playmates Toys. Now here in Canada, the distributor is Spin Master, but still Playmates Toys Ben 10, Ben Tennyson, and Gray Matter. Like I said, we're going to have a look at some more Ben 10 figure reviews, so certainly stay tuned for that. If you haven't had a chance to hit that little subscribe button down below, make sure you do so. Many more videos, both Ben 10 and other videos, will be coming your way. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.